So I installed an oil catch can in my 1.6 HDI engine, but there is a major design flaw in my setup. So I'll try to explain what I've done and why I think there is a huge design flaw, and how I'm thinking of mitigating this. So I opened the catch can. It's been only 3 days, but I opened to see what's inside and whether it works or it doesn't work. So really the design flaw, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not a problem to connect it there. So that goes straight, which is pretty good, and that's not a design flaw. But then, because there is limited space in the car, what I've put a kink here, and this goes up, really goes up, and then goes into the catch can, a second kink as well, or an elbow, 2 elbows. So basically, well, the gases have to really push quite high, push quite upwards into the catch can. So, and this is fairly away from the engine, so it will cool down, and basically it will pull down here, so it can't really force. Eventually this will probably fill with either oil or water vapor and so on, so it will probably block and create pressure in the engine. So this, first of all, has to go down and drip by gravity in the catch can. So the catch can, the inlet has to be lower than the crankcase breather. Second, fewer elbows in that line. So now I've been driving it for roughly about 3 days, so really hasn't collected anything that much. So I'll try to empty it and see what's inside. So this white bit is that only the lid was touching the bottom of the bonnet, so I've put some silicone just to be slightly smooth, so it doesn't really create pointy things in the bonnet. So I've really opened the catch can. There is not really, it's quite a bit of condensation. I mean, I've been driving fairly short trips in fairly humid weather. So let me move it. I mean, it's fairly just basically condensation, not much else. Inside there is not really much apart from condensation. And I'll open this valve here. That's the kind of second probably bad thing about this catch can, that the valve here is too restrictive. And this valve is not entirely needed for turbo diesels, or at least the 1.6 HDI and the 1.6 TDCi. And I'll open that and I'll show you what I mean by that. So open it is simply, you just pull it, and there'll probably be quite a bit of condensation here. And there is a bit, well, quite a bit of just water, not really that much oil. And inside not really that much of anything, and there is a bit of water pooling in the upper hose. There is only slight gunkish stuff here on the corner there. I mean, I'm not too sure if it can be seen. I'll try to flash the light. So there is, you can see yellowish kind of bit, but that's, well, I've been only driving 3 days, but that's the only bit that is collecting. Is here on the restriction, so the catch can probably doesn't work that well, but I have to open up that and see what's inside. So next is to drain the catch can. So let's see what's in the catch can. Try to move the camera a bit closer. I mean, can't quite see, but it's pure water, almost pure water, slightly yellowish, almost just water rather than anything else. It's basically condensation. It's mainly catching condensation rather than much oil at all. So the clear liquid that I drain from the catch can is not really antifreeze. The engine is not distilling antifreeze. It's basically condensation from the humid and rainy weather, and I have been doing mainly short journeys for the past 3 days. So it's not antifreeze. I mean, the car hasn't dropped us even a single drop of antifreeze. So what I suspect is that here in this straight pipe from the breather and the kink, because he has to go up, this will be probably also full of water, and there will be some oil droplets in here. But what it probably happens is that cannot climb. There is a restriction there. The steam, water, it's easier and it's lighter molecules, so they can travel inside the catch can. They get collected. So the oil droplets are slightly heavier, so they stay in this pipe. They can't quite climb. So this has to be really horizontal, going down a slope in the catch can, rather than staying like this, because this can eventually get blocked by water and oil. So I'll slacken this and open that thing that's horizontal here to see the breather, to see what's inside. So I've slackened this, so it's a bit of a difficult design to take out this pipe, so I'll try to be as careful as possible. So probably will leak a bit of water, potentially, that's what I think, but we'll have to see if it is water. So get this one out. There is probably a bit of oil as well. Let's see what's inside. So let me drain this from. So again, just water, and not that much water actually, but well, not that much water, but I suspect it. So let me shine the torch. So there is a bit of oily bits in there that have hit the copper and are trying to climb over the pipe. I mean, not much. There is a bit of like oil in there. Yeah, there is quite a bit of oil that hasn't really gone up. Has stayed in this pipe, so it's probably quite a bit coated with well, it's a bit black, so it can't quite be seen, but that's what's inside. It hasn't really climbed, has stayed inside. So I'll slacken this to see if, let me put a finger in here. So this is really fairly clear, so it doesn't really go up this pipe. Well, that's only water and only slight oil, so it doesn't really travel, so it basically stays here. So I've removed this piece, so it wasn't really quite correct. There has been some oil traveling up, so it does travel, but it probably will stay if it's not that much, and it mainly accumulated. It was mainly in that. I mean, I can still wipe my fingers. It's quite a lot more, so it doesn't really travel by gravity that much, so it stays in that pipe that was horizontal. So I'll open the main intake to see if the turbo anything has passed. Probably nothing has passed there, and if anything has hit here inside. So I'll undo the intake. So I've taken that one off. There is not really much inside, so I'll undo that one. So let's see how the intake looks like. So there's actually zero oil coming from so this setup kind of works. Nothing's coming out. This is from the previous time. There was some oil. Nothing in that side. Nothing is hitting really the pipe there, so no oil is coming to the intake, so it kind of works. So the other thing is the turbo. There is only a slight drop, but that was sure, but that was a bit from before, so there wasn't really there isn't really much there. Let me shine it a bit. Not really much is going in the turbo. So I haven't really lost any hope, just slightly changed the design. So what I'll do, I'll actually remove this pipe just to show you how I'll change the design. So basically what my idea is, I'll let me shine it a bit more. So what I'll really do, I'll drop the catch can underneath the intake, the air intake, so I'll put it down here, somewhere around here. So on this piece somewhere here there is already one bolt, but I'll see where I can position it, and then I'll drop the hose underneath. So then from the breather it will go down to the catch can, so there will be a gravity forcing the oil and water to come down, and then the cooled gases will come up, but that's not really that much of a problem, so I can route them. So this is it. So if you want to do the same design, don't really do this going up and kinking and elbows. This only creates might create a blockage and then back pressure in the engine. So what I think is that this pressure regulating valve on the ProVent, or this is a copy of the ProVent, it's not quite good actually. So this is the pressure regulating valve. There is a restriction there, and the PCV valve, or on 1.6 HDI engines, it's CCV closed case, closed circuit valve or closed case, CCV valve rather than positive crankcase. I'll open one. I have one spare to open to show you that actually this valve is not entirely needed on the ProVent for the turbo diesels with that specific valve. So this is the same crankcase cover. I have another one, so I have a video how to replace the membrane inside. So this is the breather hose. So these are the two breathers. This is the valve in there. So if I open this up, so this is really the membrane. So what happens is, so this generally stays in the opposite position. So if the engine is breathing, so this is really breathing out. If the turbo side, the intake, draws air, so it becomes negative pressure, this actually pushes this closed. So this actually close to fairly close position rather than complete close, so fairly close position, so in order to not to be gases to be drawn out. So in other words, not to suck stuff in the cylinder. So this really slightly closes, so it serves the same purpose as the valve of the ProVent. So for the ProVent valve, there is no need. It's not needed to close to do the same regulating pressure. There is always there is the same valve, or the same function really. It's not a positive crankcase valve, but it's a kind of a pressure regulating valve. So if there is a negative pressure here, this slightly closes, and then let me show you from inside. So there is a really let me show you from inside. So there is really a small there is a spring that holds it open. So if this gets drawn, there is a small rubber here, so it actually closes. This really closes here, and there is no connection. So it's just a entrance here, and it only goes to here. There is no other connection. Anyway, so if this closes, if there's a negative pressure coming out of here from the turbo pulling air, this actually slightly closes and restricts pushing the air. So this is really the same valve as in the Provent. So the Provent could be actually taken out. So I'm doing that modification, the valve, and replaced with something else. So I mean, this is it. Don't really make the mistake that I'm doing. I mean, I caught it fairly early. I was thinking about it quite a lot. Caught it fairly early. So don't really do a kink in going upwards. Do a gravity, so the oil and other vapors can go down rather than build up in this horizontal, and then they can't really go up. So thank you very much indeed. So subscribe, because I'm doing the modification. It will go down as it should be, and I'm modifying also the Provent. To do that, I'll do a proper bracket. So subscribe, and let me know in any comments in the comments below on the video, and I'll modify the design and post a new video with the proper design. Thank you.